They say silence is golden. But in this diner, tonight, silence costs exactly the price of that silver briefcase you see on the table. 3 strangers, an ex-professor who knows too much, a getaway driver running from ghosts, and a watch collector counting the seconds until the world ends. They think they're here to split an inheritance, but the only thing they're actually sharing are the lies they told to get here. That timer is set for 45 minutes. That's all the time left before the truth crawls out of that briefcase and burns 2 of their lives to the ground. You see, in this room, they all lied. And what none of them has realized yet is that the man who left that briefcase doesn't want their money. He wants a witness. The plot witness presents the silver briefcase. Close your eyes, listen to the lies, and try to find the imposter before the clock hits 0.
Chapter 1. The Philosophy of a 15% Tip.
The rain outside isn't just falling, it's screaming. Inside the diner, the air smells of burnt grease and old secrets. The professor sits across from the driver. He's meticulously folding a paper napkin into a perfect triangle. You see, the problem with this establishment isn't the subpar caffeine or the questionable structural integrity of the roof. It's the moral vacuum of the service.
It's 4 a.m, Professor. The woman has a limp and a name tag that's peeling off. Just drink your coffee.
My point exactly. She's miserable. And yet society expects me to reward that misery with a 15% gratuity? It's a philosophical paradox. If I tip her, I'm subsidizing her unhappiness. If I don't, I'm the villain of her shift. You're talking too much. You always talk when you're nervous. I'm not nervous. I'm observant. There's a difference. For instance, I've observed that you haven't taken your hands off your lap since we sat down. Are you checking for your car keys? Or are you making sure your holster is still there?
I'm making sure the next person who mentions a philosophical paradox doesn't get a ride home. Julian didn't bring us here to discuss the service industry.
No. Julian brought us here because he knew I'd appreciate the irony. 3 people, 1 briefcase, and a storm that won't let anyone leave. It's a classic locked room mystery. Only we're not the detectives. Then what are we? We're the evidence.
Enter the Watchmaker. He doesn't look at the coffee. He doesn't look at the storm. He looks at the clock on the wall, and then at the silver briefcase.
Chapter 2. The Scholarship Denied. 7 years ago.
The ticking of the kitchen timer in the diner begins to echo, louder and louder, until it morphs into the steady, expensive thud of a grandfather clock in a wood-paneled office. The smell of cheap coffee is replaced by the scent of old books and expensive cologne. 7 years ago, before the briefcase, before the storm, Professor Elias Thorne wasn't sitting in a greasy diner. He was sitting on a throne of academic power.
Professor Thorne? Thank you for seeing me. I brought the revised thesis and the recommendation forms for the fellowship.
Set them on the desk, Julian, next to the others.
Sir, if I don't get this scholarship, I can't stay in the program. My father's medical bills. I'm the first in my family to even get this far.
Julian, academia is not a charity ward. It's an ecosystem. And in this ecosystem, there is only room for those who can offer something original. Your work on ethics is... it's polite. But the world doesn't need polite. The world needs architects
I've worked 3 jobs for 3 years to be here, sir. I've given everything to this department.
And yet, you have given me nothing that I find interesting. I've already signed the rejection, Julian. Don't look so devastated. Think of it as a lesson in the philosophy of loss. It's much more practical than anything you've written.
I understand, Professor.
Loss is a powerful teacher.
I hope one day I can show you exactly how much I've learned.
Julian left the office that day with nothing but a grudge. But as he walked down those hallowed halls, he realized that if he couldn't be the architect of his own future, he would become the architect of Thorn's ruin.
Chapter 1.1 The Weight of Mercury.
The silence returns, heavier than before. The professor's triangle-folded napkin sits on the table like a tombstone for a conversation that died too soon. The watchmaker, who hasn't touched his lukewarm coffee, finally shifts his weight. His eyes aren't on the professor or the driver. They are fixed on the silver briefcase, watching the way the neon open sign from the window reflects off its surface.
You're staring at the latches, Sarah. You've been counting the screws on the casing for the last 3 minutes.
It's a habit. I like to know how things open and how fast they close.
This one won't open with a crowbar or a heavy foot. Julian always liked mercury switches. If the balance shifts more than 6 degrees before the timer hits 0, well, let's just say the inheritance inside becomes a very expensive puddle of ash.
You're exaggerating. Julian was a student of ethics, not an engineer of destruction. He's making a point, not a bomb.
A man who has lost everything doesn't make points, Elias. He makes holes. Holes in the lives of the people who pushed him. Tell me, Professor, when you look at that silver box, do you see money? Or do you see a mirror?
I see a reason to get out of this state. Now shut up, both of you. The rain is getting louder, and I don't like the way the lights are flickering.
The lights don't just flicker, they pulse, like a heartbeat slowing down. The watchmaker is right about one thing. The briefcase isn't just sitting there, it's waiting. And while they wait for the future to open, the past is already beginning to leak through the floorboards.
Chapter 3 The Watchmaker's Debt.
Back in the diner, the rain is still screaming, but inside, the air has turned ice cold. The watchmaker hasn't touched his coffee. He hasn't even looked at the professor. Until now.
You're still wearing it, Elias.
I beg your pardon? Do I know you, sir?
You don't know my face. People like you never look at the help. But I know that watch on your left wrist. A 1958 Patek Philippe. Refinished dial, a slight scratch on the lug from when it was, shall we say, repossessed from a student who couldn't pay his debts.
You told me that was a family heirloom, Professor.
It was an heirloom. It belonged to Julian's grandfather. The only thing the boy had left after you stripped him of his scholarship and his dignity. He brought it to my shop 7 years ago, desperate for a loan to keep his father in the hospital.
I bought this legally from a reputable estate sale.
You bought it from the debt collector I sold it to. You knew exactly whose life was ticking away inside that case. You liked the irony of it, didn't you? Wearing the legacy of the man you destroyed? Julian didn't invite me here to split a treasure, Professor. He invited me here to appraise you. And I have to say, Your value is dropping by the second.
Wait, if you knew Julian and he knew Julian, then why am I here? I never met the kid. I just drive.
The driver's voice cracks. For the first time, she's not looking at the door. She's looking at the watchmaker's hands. Because she realizes that in this triangle of suspicion, being the only innocent one is the most dangerous lie of all.
Chapter 2.1 The Mercury Logic.
The professor is shrinking. Every word from the watchmaker has been like a gear grinding against his pride. The air in the diner is thick, not just with the smell of old grease, but with the metallic tang of fear. The driver, Sarah, stands up. She doesn't go for the door. She goes for the counter, grabbing a heavy glass sugar shaker.
You talk about value and irony like this is a play. But I'm looking at the hinges on that case. If Julian is as smart as you say, he didn't just put a timer on it. He put a trigger.
Careful, Sarah. Gravity is a cruel judge.
Gravity? I've driven through blizzards with a trunk full of glass and ego. I know how to keep things level. I'm tired of the talking. I want to see if this miracle box is even real.
Don't touch it! You heard him. Mercury switches. If you tilt that case, we don't just lose the money. We might lose the room. Julian was unstable at the end.
Unstable? Or just finally honest? You're all so scared of what's inside because you think it's a bomb. I'm scared because I think it's empty. I'm scared that we're sitting here, confessing our sins to a piece of empty luggage, while the real storm is just getting started.
Oh, it's not empty, Sarah. I can hear the weight shifting when the wind hits the building. It's heavy. Heavy like a secret you can't bury deep enough. She lowers the glass. The standoff ends, but the damage is done. The alliance of 3 strangers is now 3 individuals, each wondering which one will be the first to sell the others out to save their own skin. And Sarah is already remembering the last time she had to make that exact choice.
Chapter 4 The Rain on the Windshield. 3 years ago.
The sound of the diner's rain fades into a more rhythmic, mechanical sound. The heavy thump-thump of windshield wipers fighting a storm inside a car. The neon lights of a city reflect in the puddles. 3 years ago, a different storm. The driver wasn't waiting for a briefcase. She was waiting for a signal.
I'm at the corner of 5th and Main. I have the files, Sarah. Everything that proves what they did to my father's estate. Just get here. Please.
I'm 2 blocks away, Julian. Keep your head down. If the light turns green and you're not in the seat, I'm gone. You know the rules.
Sarah! We know who you're picking up. We'll double whatever he's paying you. Actually, we'll triple it. All you have to do is keep driving. Don't stop. Don't look back.
Sarah! I see your car! Stop! They're right behind me! Sarah!
She didn't pull the trigger. She didn't even touch him. She just kept driving. She chose a bigger paycheck over a dying man's last hope. And as she watched his silhouette vanish in her rearview mirror, she thought she was driving toward freedom. She didn't realize that in Julian's world, the rearview mirror
never forgets a face.
Chapter 4.1 The Interrogation of Shadows.
The sound of the screeching tires from Sarah's memory seems to linger in the diner, mixing with the hum of the old refrigerator. The silence that follows isn't peaceful, it's judgmental. The professor looks at Sarah, not with pity, but with the cold calculation of a man who just found someone lower than himself.
So, you didn't just drive. You were the one who cut his lifeline. And here I was, feeling guilty for a simple administrative decision.
It's a beautiful ecosystem, isn't it? The academic who kills the dream, the watchmaker who buys the remains, and the driver who leaves the body behind. We didn't just know Julian. We were the gears of the machine that crushed him.
There's only minutes left. Why are we doing this? Why are we tearing each other apart? If we just stay calm, the timer hits 0, we take the briefcase, and we never have to see each other again.
Do you really think Julian brought us here to give us a payday, Elias? Look at the windows. Look at the rain. Have you noticed the waitress hasn't come back to refill your coffee? Have you noticed the bell hasn't rung once since I walked in?
The kitchen, it's too quiet, even for 4 in the morning. Sarah walks to the diner door. She pushes. It doesn't budge. She kicks it, then throws her shoulder against the glass. It doesn't even vibrate. It feels less like glass and more like a wall.
The exit isn't a door anymore. It's the briefcase. Julian isn't waiting for the timer to end. He's waiting for the truth to be heavy enough to break the floor.
The panic finally sets in. Not the fast, loud kind, but the slow, cold realization that they aren't waiting for a briefcase to open. They are waiting for their own lives to close.
Chapter 5 The Living Script.
Back in the diner, the professor is sweating. The driver's hand is trembling near her jacket. The watchmaker simply points at the silver briefcase.
Open it, Elias. The timer just hit 0.
What the? It's just paper?
It's a script. A movie script. The silver briefcase. Wait, this dialogue. The philosophy of a 15% tip? The rain on the windshield? It's all here. Every word we've said for the last 40 minutes.
Read the last page, Professor.
Read it out loud for the audience. Scene 54. The professor realizes the diner has no exit. He looks at the windows and sees they are high-resolution screens. He realizes the rain is a looping audio track. He realizes Julian is the director.
Suddenly, the walls of the diner begin to slide upward. The smell of grease vanishes, replaced by the sterile scent of a soundstage. Thousands of miles away, millions of people are watching a live stream.
Thank you, Elias. Thank you, Sarah. You were both magnificent. You didn't need a script because your greed and your arrogance are the best writers in the world.
Julian, where are you? Show yourself!
I'm everywhere, Sarah. I'm the camera in the corner. I'm the comments section scrolling past your faces right now. I'm the plot witness. You didn't come here to get a briefcase. You came here to give the world a confession.
The briefcase wasn't full of money. It was full of the truth. And in the digital age, that's the only currency that never devalues. Julian walks onto the set, holding the bill for the coffee. He doesn't look at them. He looks directly at you. Case closed. This was the plot witness. Don't forget to subscribe before your own story gets written.